Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, it is again a privilege for me to be able to address you at the Western Ukrainian Legal Forum. I regret very much not being able to be with you in this beautiful town of Lviv, of which I have vivid memories of the cafes, the chocolate, the atmosphere, the university and the friends, the bustling social and cultural life of a vibrant civil society. I sincerely hope that after this sanitary crisis, we will be able to meet in person again. Dear friends, as stated by the Secretary General of the Council of Europe in a recent annual report, freedom of expression and information have been in decline in many member states of the organization in the last years. This does not only concern the larger Europe, but also concerns the countries of the European Union. We, together, have been backsliding on the hills of our common values. Like many, I'm also deeply concerned about the future deterioration of the human rights situation in Belarus. The forced landing of the Ryanair flight from Athens to Vilnius earlier this month was unacceptable, and the arrest of Mr. Pratasevich and Ms. Psapega is highly concerning. So too is their current situation in detention. Our Secretary General will continue to follow developments closely. Journalists, activists and human rights defenders should feel free and secure wherever they are in Europe. Sadly, this is also part of a broader problem. With the health crisis, many pre-existing concerns for democracy and freedom of expression intensified. It becomes even more urgent to ensure the safety of journalists as the violence against them intensified. In a moment when restrictions of access to information and public events have been imposed due to the lockdown, or legislative initiatives seeking to prevent disinformation, panic and disorder were hastily introduced. It also became urgent to provide journalists and other media actors the appropriate conditions to perform their role of public watchdogs for a healthy democracy. Thus, during the COVID-19 outbreak, reliable, quality and fact-checked information became crucial to the point where it could save lives, just as fast-spreading disinformation or infodemics could lead to serious damages. Our draft recommendation of the Committee of Ministers to Member States on promoting a favorable environment for quality journalism in the digital age never saw the light of day since its finalization in 2019. Many of these aspects have been tackled in the ministerial conference Artificial Intelligent Politics, Challenges for Media and Democracy of 10 and 11 June in Nicosia, as they have also been at the top of the agenda of the Council of Europe for a number of years now. Of most importance is the resolution on the impact of the health crisis on freedom of expression adopted in the conference, expressing member states' commitment to ensure that all limitations to free speech should constitute the least restrictive means possible, are time-bound and proportionate to the legitimate aims of protecting public health. They should be needed only for the functioning of a democratic society. Consolidating the lessons learned from the COVID-19 crisis, the resolution builds on the existing instruments of the Council of Europe and encourages states to commit to 1. Remove all unnecessary obstacles to freedom of expression, to promote access to information and to facilitate increased internet access, to ensure access to official information and documents, taking into account the case law of the European Court of Human Rights and the Convention on Access to Official Documents, the so-called Tromsø Convention, which I again congratulate Ukraine for having ratified it in 2020 and thus opened its way for its entry into force. I would also like to call to cooperate with a platform to promote the protection of journalism and the safety of journalists, to ensure an information environment in the face of the crisis where all journalists, men and women, can perform their essential task in security and in appropriate working conditions. They have to be able to make their watchdog function happen. To also address the challenges of the media market in a systematic manner, to promote media and information literacy among the public, young and old. Ensure that any restriction on freedom of expression and information must be clear and predictable so that the existing laws and policies are not misused for the purposes of silencing critical and promoting a free and pluralistic public debate on all issues of public interest. Thus, to go back to the topic of this session, it is a fact that governments take rapid and sometimes far-reaching measures under pressure, such as the crisis situations that we have lived. Very often, these are the exact moments when we are constrained to face directly the critical gaps of our usual circumstances. But these are the very moments of clarity, which brings into the limelight things that can be better, can be done better, showing and giving us a chance to grow. So I would say that this is a moment to grow together in a society where citizens have access to free and pluralistic media and to quality information and news. A society where there is a safe environment for journalists and where citizens can safely benefit from the opportunities which are offered by the digital technologies when expressing views, seeking and sharing information, both online and offline. A society where freedom of expression and its enjoyment is guaranteed and effectively implemented, both in normal times and in times of crisis. A society which not only pays lip service to our democratic values, but are also accompanied with real decision-making supporting these values. One important way to do so is to actively implement the decisions of the European Court of Human Rights. Dear colleagues, dear friends, I sincerely hope that your forum these days will exactly contribute to this. Keep an open and critical mind of societal developments, government policies, and the continuous fight for a common legal space and a democratic society in which human rights are protected. I would like to thank you sincerely for having taken the time to listen to me.